going to head now to Blake, Holland. They're in downtown Tyler. Now, Blake, as I understand it, an opening ceremony just wrapped up.
That's right. We had the groundbreaking ceremony for the new Smith County Courthouse. We're here behind the current courthouse, and behind me is where we're going to build the new one. So for a couple of weeks now, last week the demolition process started on many of these buildings here on the east side of the square. You can see the ones behind me here right in the middle of the buildings here. They've been able to tear these down. Mind you, there was a fire many years ago, so much of what was here was just a facade. But this is where the groundbreaking ceremony happened just within the last half hour or so. A big crowd out here. I mean, it's always impressive to see how many people you can get out in the middle of August on a brick street in suits. And there were a lot of people here for this. It's a very momentous occasion. We heard from Smith County Judge Neil Franklin, kind of the master of ceremonies today, and then also former county judge and current U.S. Congressman representing a large chunk of East Texas, Nathaniel Moran, who also played a very big role in this, in getting this before the voters back in November of 2022, and then more than half of the voters passing this bond, 53% if I remember, give or take, passing this bond in November 2022 to get us to this point today. One of the things the congressman mentioned is, while this process, when I first came to town in 2018, the conversations were really getting going. And then as we got into 2019, really this re-examination of the current courthouse and, getting us to where we are today. But the process actually goes back much longer than that. Even in the 1990s, the Commissioners Court at the time in the county began looking at the current courthouse and the needs and figuring out what it would look like to build a new Smith County Courthouse. The one here that we have right now that's still in use, it was built back in the 1950s. It was built with 2 district courts, one at that end, one at this end. Immediately the next year, I think it was 1956, they added another court, and they had to add in and move space around within this courthouse that they had just built to make room for a new courthouse. So that kind of tells you how long we've been dealing with space issues. And now we have district courts spread out through all that building. They've had to clear space downstairs for one. There's a few on the second floor. And so you really have this issue of space. But then also one of the big points here that was made to voters when they were trying to get folks to pass this was safety and security. If you've ever been in the Smith County Courthouse, for instance, an experience I've had many times as a reporter, you're covering a trial, you break for recess, and you go to the restroom. There's a good chance you're going to be using the same restroom as the person on trial, as the defense attorney, maybe as the prosecutor, possibly even the judge. That just kind of gives you an idea of what's going on at the Smith County Courthouse. In this new courthouse, really a big emphasis on safety and security, different corridors for all of the different parties involved. So you won't have the possibility of really the worst case scenario, a victim and the person who's being tried having to come across each other in a corridor, in a bathroom. That's not going to happen in the new space. They're going to have separate corridors for members of the jury, for defendants, all of that, and also just the safety and security of transporting those inmates for their own safety and the safety of other people, transporting them throughout the building, something that they just really don't have right now. They do the best with what they have, but it's not as safe as it could be, especially when you compare it to more modern courthouses. So momentous occasion here today to break ground on this. Mind you, with this, there is a raise in taxes. That's how they're going to pay for this. It's voter-approved debt. When voters went to the polls in November of 2022 and they said we want to see this happen, that 53% give or take, they were signing off on some debt. And so we've seen the proposed budget and the proposed tax rate for this coming year. The reason for the increase in the tax rate, the county leaders tell me, is this voter-approved debt, this new courthouse project, along with the parking garage, which is supposed to be done this fall. So we're going to continue to follow along with this progress. We've been following this story for a very long time to begin with, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So we'll keep you updated on what happens here.
Absolutely, Blake. This morning, a momentous step forward in a plan to solve issues decades in the making. Excited to come alongside you and be able to get us all the sights and sounds every step of the way. Blake, we will hear more about this, I'm understanding, in the 6?
Yeah, we'll have a full story at 6. That's right.
All right, sounds great. Once again, Blake Holland from downtown Tyler on the square there. Blake, thanks for calling in.